top of the day, beautiful people. Happy Monday, y'all. It is February the 21st, 2022. Day number 37 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1055. Today, y'all, we're starting tablet A of the Complete Annunaki Bible on page 42. And then we're going to jump over into my big toe, possibly finish chapter 23 in that little shorter side. That's a longer side. And that we're going to pick that back up on page 173. Ante, shalom, shalom. Audrey, shalom. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do this this opening real quick. Tiffany, hey, girl, hey. With the Shema. Let's see. Remember, the Shema is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. It is a call for wholehearted commitment. These are the commands, decrees, and regulations that the Lord your God commanded me to teach you. You must obey them in the land you are about to enter and occupy, and you and your children and grandchildren must fear the Lord your God as long as you live. If you obey all his decrees and commands, you will enjoy a long life. Listen closely, Israel, and be careful to obey. Then all will go well with you, and you will have many children in the land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Listen, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone, and you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I am giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. The Lord your God will soon bring you into the land he swore to give to you when he made a vow to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is a land with large, prosperous cities that you did not build. The houses will be richly stocked with goods you did not produce. You will draw water from cisterns you did not dig, and you will eat from vineyards and olive trees you did not plant. When you have eaten your fill in this land, be careful not to forget the Lord who rescued you from slavery in the land of Egypt. You must fear the Lord your God and serve him. When you take an oath, you must only use his name. You must not worship any other gods of the neighboring nations, for the Lord your God who lives among you is a jealous God. His anger will flare up against you, and he will wipe you from the face of the earth. You must not test the Lord your God as you did when you complained at Massa. You must diligently obey the commands of the Lord your God, all the laws and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so all will go well with you. Then you will enter and occupy the good land that the Lord swore to give to your ancestors. You will drive out all the enemies living in the land, just as the Lord said you would. In the future, your children will ask you, what is the meaning of these laws, decrees, and regulations that the Lord our God has commanded us to obey? Then you must tell them, we were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his strong hand. The Lord did miraculous signs and wonders before our eyes, dealing terrifying blows against Egypt and Pharaoh and all his people. He brought us out of Egypt so he could give us this land he had sworn to give to our ancestors, and the Lord our God commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear him, so that he can continue to bless us and preserve our lives as he has done to this day. For we will be counted as righteous when we obey all the commands the Lord our God has given us. All right, beautiful people. Mom, shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all, let's get right to it. All right, y'all. Tablet A. Book of the Anunnaki, Watchers, and Igigi. Yahuwah is one. Yes, oh great spirit, Yah, glory and praise to you. Okay. Here begins the Necronomicon, the book of dead names of the Anunnaki, Watchers, and Igigi, beings which appeared to man in ages past, both physically on earth and in all ancient global mythologies as gods. The full text of what follows spans thousands of years of primordial lore. It illustrates clearly the gods of men, so no illusion is maintained over the true nature of their divinity. These same powers and forces have historically appeared to all humans all over the earth. Mankind followed and fell in with the plan of deifying these beings into gods, complete with religious traditions and followings defended by the sword. Offerings, which first served to feed the Anunnaki themselves, would later feed priests and their families once the gods left the earth, leaving their shrines and temples emptied and humans seemingly forgotten. Are the gods so distant and forgetful? In the Ancient of Days, these beings were better known by their true natures, but time passes, and with the rise of humans came the rise of monotheism, illogical when pertaining specifically to the origins of the known world and its inhabitants. The following text only introduces the concepts which run fluent throughout the Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible. The same entities were known by different languages under varying names. Cultural alignments colored the planetary associations that the Anunnaki pantheon represented, semantics only separated by time and region. Students and seekers and priests of the tradition are shown a very brightly colored array of entities, all which maintain some pantheon of hierarchy in addition to specific distribution of roles and functions. We hear of a king of heaven called Anu or An, and yet this is only the heavenly father for localized races, only as a representation of the absolute source which lies outside of and within the heart of the dimensions as a divine spark or spirit, not a specific entity or personification. Let me go back and read that again. Students and seekers, priests of the tradition are shown a very brightly colored array of entities, all which maintain some pantheon of hierarchy, in addition to a specific distribution of roles and functions. We hear of a king of heaven called Anu or An, and yet this is only the heavenly father for localized races, only as a representation of the absolute source which lies outside of and within the heart of the dimensions as a divine spark or spirit, not a specific entity or personification. Naturally, such esoteric lore becomes occult and hidden among men, left to a select few to understand, while the rest of the world attempts to lean ladders against the sky. The next section is called The Rise of the Gods of the Earth. When first the gods were men on earth, settling on the bond of heaven earth, Anu decreed that the Anunnaki would come forth. They were forced to toil and to do labor. Great indeed was the drudgery of the gods. The labor was heavy, the misery not befitting of gods. And the seven great Anunnaki were not freed of the burden, and the Igigi watchers were called down to do physical labor. And these giants, gods, roamed the earth in a time before men, because the grain goddess had not arrived, because the cattle goddess had not been born. There was no cattle and there was no grain. The Anunnaki were forced to eat plants like sheep and drink water from the ditches. They dug rivers and opened canals to be the life of the land. The Igigi watchers also dug rivers and opened canals. Then the Igigi, the watchers, dug the Tigris River and the Euphrates. From the depths of the earth, they brought forth springs of water, and the wells of life they established. They gathered up earth to build up all the mountains, and for years they toiled under such drudgery, and they had counted the years of their labors. For 10 cycles they suffered the toil night and day. For 20 cycles they suffered the toil night and day. For 30 cycles they suffered the toil night and day. For 40 cycles, too much, they had toiled night and day. Okay, let me bring this out. So this is broken up. This is kind of like it's broken up like Psalm 119 and it's like a few different verses, then it breaks it up and it goes to another section. So it kind of does this all the way through, y'all. I'm not gonna pause when there's like a break in between it, but I think it's just for easier reading for us, so it's not like one long thing. All right. The elder gods of the Anunnaki came together. With lots, they decided the fate of the earth. To Anu, the father of the heavens, would remain in heaven. To Enlil, royal heir, was given the command. To Ea, Enki, was given control of the waters of life. But in the lands, only endless toiling transpired. In the ditches, the Igigi, the watchers, began murmuring against the work. Let us confront our foreman, they declared. He must take off our heavy burden upon us. Let us confront Enlil, the commander of the Anunnaki. Come, let us go to him and pull him from his Eker, which is his dwelling. So the Igigi, the watchers, set their tools on fire, picked themselves up, and moved to the gate of Enlil. It was nighttime when the Eker was surrounded, but Enlil was not aware of their advances. The Igigi, watchers, approached the gate of Enlil. Nusku opened up his gate to the Eker, and he took his weapons in as he stood. Enlil gathered with the assembly of the Anunnaki. At the gate, the gatekeeper spoke out to those gathered. Now, then, Anu, your father in heaven, and also your counselor and general of the armies, Enlil, and your perfect goddess queen, Ninurta, and your lord on earth, Enki, have commanded me to ask you, who is the initiator of this battle? Who is the initiator of these hostilities towards this place? Who has declared a war and brought war upon the gate of Enlil? Morning, Linda, Uncle JB. So the Igigi, and every time it says the Igigi, it has watchers behind it for just in case you weren't present when we read the Lost Book of Enki, so you get familiar with who the Igigi is who the Bible and the Book of Enoch calls the watchers, right? Okay. The Igigi watchers shouted out, everyone of us among the Igigi has declared war. We take our stand now against the endless excavations of the land, and the excessive toils and slave labor has killed us. Our forced drudgery has been too heavy, the misery too much. Now every one of us, Igigi, has resolved that a new covenant shall be made with Enlil. A grand assembly of Anunnaki was advised. A message was sent to Anu to come down from the heavens. The Lord Enki was brought to their presence, and the resolution came from Enki. To relieve the misery of the Igigi, the race of humans were created to be the workers. Secrets of Seth, son of Adapa, is the next section. The wisest among men and gods have spoken the words. In the beginning was the primordial chaos, and nothing but it existed. But in truth, the beginning was a formless void. In the center was the divine spark, the permeating spirit. You are a pure one from a pure power. You are the first among men, because you are the true king on earth. Know that I was carried on the summits of creation and made privy to the secrets of the light, darkness, and the habitable worlds in the between. In the beginning, amidst the formless void, there was light, darkness, and the divine spark between. In love and peace, the light was united with the word to be one. The darkness was the wind with the mind and formless fire. In the in the between was the divine spark, the true light, which existed in tranquility, quietness, light, dark, divine spark, spirit. That might be our title for today. Light, dark, divine spark, spirit. So, these are the three roots from the beginning. Let me start over. Let me start this little section over. In the between was the divine spark, the true light, which existed in tranquility, quietness, light, dark, divine spark, spirit. These are the three roots from the beginning. Each of them existed alone, separated, in their own power, and in the beginnings unknown to each other. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. Thank you again. The power bestowed upon light was great. Light revealed the nature of darkness and knew its depths. Light discovered the root of darkness was not pure, divine. In ignorance and isolation, darkness assumed the ego mind. Darkness believed none could be above it, and it consumed itself. And the darkness reigned in depths covered by primordial waters. The vileness and corruption beheld by darkness was not known, but then darkness quaked, and all could hear the sound. The divine spark heard the sound of the mind of darkness. For the first time did this sound vibrate throughout the universe. When darkness beheld the form of the divine spark, which is the spirit, it could not comprehend because the mind was full of pride. By the will of light, the darkness was separated from the waters. Darkness saw its appearance compared to the divine spark and was overcome with grief. Darkness sought to assimilate the divine spark, the spirit. Then it sought to make the divine spark, spirit, equal to it. Both attempts failed. Enraged, the mind of darkness was. It became the eye of bitterness in the depths. Then it showed its fiery rage at the heights of the depths. In doing so, revealed the nature of the purity of the true light, and so failed to ascend or come forth. Before Adapa returned to earth, the assembly of the Anunnaki stirred, because Anu was not the sole creator in the universe. Chaos stirred, for the mind of darkness was known to be a liar. When it spoke, I am God and there is no other. When after Adapa had returned to earth, the assembly of Anunnaki met with Anu, chief creator. The assembly asked, isn't this creation, man, who is made in the image of a god, going to be the ruin of us and our plans? The Anunnaki and the Ijiji murmured among themselves. The god had been made from the earth and heaven. It had determined that another was to be made in its likeness. They determined in heaven, let us also fashion females by which the man will fall in love with. And the lesser gods delighted in this decision, for they feared the rise of power of this new god. We are the powers in this age. We are the rulers in this age. Let the children of light serve us. Let the children of light be slaves for this entire age. And it says, refer to tablet G, Book of Generations, for missing fragment. And we're going to get to that when we get to that. We're still in tablet 8. Ali, shalom, shalom. All right, the next section is Babylonian Book of Dead Names. Here begins the first part of the Babylonian text, the legacy of our ancestors who descended from the heavens to the earth, created the race of mankind and the race of Marduk, and led the races of men against the race of Marduk in political conflicts among multiple generations of the Anunnaki. Gates, which are shrines of the gods at Babylon, were created by Marduk to call forth and unite and perhaps entrap the Anunnaki pantheon under one rule, under the rule of the supreme ruler of the realms, the Lord of the earth, a title originally bestowed upon Enki, father of Marduk. This designation was a title only, and neither Enki or his heir Marduk were allowed sufficient freedom to rule by the Enlilites, the Semitic and Judeo-Christian worshippers of Enlil, who was raised to God status in the traditional Old Testament. I'm going ahead and read it for y'all again. Y'all Enlilites. Here we go. I'm going to stop playing with y'all. First thing this morning. Hold on. Let me go back. In political conflicts among multiple generations of the Anunnaki, gates or shrines of the gods at Babylon were created by Marduk to call forth and unite and perhaps entrap the Anunnaki pantheon under one rule, under the rule of the supreme ruler of the realms, the Lord of the earth, a title originally bestowed upon Enki, the father of Marduk. This designation was only a title, and neither Enki or his heir Marduk were allowed sufficient freedom to rule by the Enlilites. And then parentheses after Enlilites, so you know who the Enlilites are. It says Semitic and Judeo-Christian worshippers of Enlil, who is raised to the God status in the traditional Old Testament. I'll move on to the next paragraph. The Sumerian pantheon differs from Babylonian. In older traditions, the eldest of the elder gods and those most closely aligned to them are heralded the highest in the heavens. When the passing of time and also the eventual departure of all chief Anunnaki on the earth, it is the younger generation of gods who appear to be held in high esteem. For example, where the Sumerian pantheon is highly emphasized by the lineage of Anu and Enlil, these become ambiguous characters in the strictly Babylonian tradition and are replaced by Enki and Marduk, known as Ptah and Ra, respectively, in Egypt. The Enlilite lineages are given most attention in older Mesopotamian and later Semitic traditions, where the same lore is observed with updated names and characters, hence the new names that we got that we are familiar with in the Old Testament. According to the Babylonian version of the Epic of Creation, which is the Enuma Elish, it is Marduk who is given credit for creating not only the interdimensional portal of dimensions, but also the Babylon, gateway of the gods or stars on earth in Babylon. The purpose of gates for the gods extends far beyond the astral initiations practiced by some modern necronomical reconstructionists and were actually designed to seal the power of individualized Anunnaki entities under the power of Marduk, as is echoed by the Tower of Babel stories. This becomes evident by the choice of deities selected in the Babylonian pantheon because they are adopted from opposing bloodlines of Enlil and Enki. For example, the use of both Marduk and Inanna Ishtar as ceremonial worship icons would seem politically contradictory. While they are considered half siblings, they actually have no great love for one another. Marduk is actually, I'm sorry, Marduk is later held responsible for the death of Dumuzi, necessity of the famous underworld descent of Ishtar, and is punished, and as punishment she pushes for his exile and imprisonment in the pyramids. In another example, Nergal, who first appears as an impartial mediator between the Mardukites and Enlilites, but eventually become the figure responsible for unleashing terrible weapons in the Middle East, resulting in the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and inevitably the fallout that caused the original destruction of Babylon and forcing Marduk to abandon Babylon altogether for Egypt. It should then be clear that under the Babylonian pantheon, none of these superfluous deities were intended on being literally worshipped. Instead, the powers were intended to be sealed under Marduk, who assumed all 50 names of the Anunnaki composing the pantheon of elder gods in prehistory. Reigning above all this was the original Sumerian trinity of Anu, Enlil, and Enki. They were given numerical designations of 60, 50, and 40, respectively. Their official spouses, Antu, Ninlil, and Ninki, were subsequently designated 55, 45, and 35. The designations for a king of heaven was 60. Command of the earth planet began with the designation of 50, which was first assumed by Enlil and then later Marduk upon assuming the 50 names. Okay, so now it's about to go into these names. That was just kind of like a quick overview of everything so you get it. Okay, so the original Sumerian Anunnaki pantheon. Okay, so it's about to give the names and the numbers. Okay, so stick with me, y'all. Anu 60 plus Antu 55. So it's the male and their females, or the god and their goddesses, or the husband and the wife, right? Okay. Anu and his wife Antu. Remember, their spouse's name always matched them, right? It's kind of like they doing today when they the put the names together, the first names of the man and the woman. What was Brad Pitt? Is that Brad Jolina, Andrew Brad or something? Y'all get what I'm saying? Something like that. Anu 60 and plus Antu 55. Enlil 50 plus Ninlil 45. Inky 40 plus Ninki, and they also called Ninki Daminkina, and her number was 35. Ninurta, it has 50. Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, so his is on the line. Ninurta is minus 50. Okay, so what? Okay, so it looked like it's adding the husband and the wife, but then it has Ninurta, but it has like the minus sign, then it has 50, then it goes to the next one. Okay, Nanar, Sin, Suin, 30 plus Ningal, 25. Shamash, Samas, Utu is 20. Inanna, Ishtar is 15. Ishkur, Adad is 10. Ninhursag is 5. Okay. Now it's going to the Babylonian Anunnaki Gate / Zoni Pantheon. Ninib / Ninurta is 4, and it has in brackets 50. Marduk in parentheses, it has 10 / 50. Nergal in parentheses, it has number 8. Shamash / Samas in parentheses 20. And Nana / Ishtar, which is another name for her. When it's like / it's that's the same person. And Nana is also Ishtar, and her number is 15. Nabu or Nebo is 12. Nana or Suin is 30. Okay, so now it drops down to the Anunnaki names found on Nabu prayer tablets. Anu plus Antu. Then it's Bil, Bel, Enlil plus Ninlil. Ia, Inky plus Ninki / Damkina. Then it's Ninurta / Ninib. Then Marduk plus Sarpanit, Zerpani2. So that's another name for Sarpanit, depending on what tablet in the prayer tablet is referring to. Sarpanit, Marduk's wife, Zerpani2. Okay. And Nana is also Ishtar. Samas is also Shamash. Nabu plus Teshmet Tasmitu. Then you have Nanar / Nana Sin. Then you have Raman. Trina, hey girl, hey. Okay, so now it's going through those list of names, and with each name is going to give descriptions, and there's 7 of them. The first one is Anu. And Antu. An is the sky or the heavens. Anu or Ansar is the king in the sky or heavenly one. Anu, the house of Anu, is sometimes equated with Uranus. Antu, half sister and wife to Anu, together created Enlil, though Enki was first born to Anu by another female. Antu is sometimes equated to Neptune, though this is usually reserved for Enki. Number 2 is Enlil and Ninlil. Enlil is the Lord of the wind and of the command on earth, who is also called Enlil, Ilil, Ilu, and Nunam Nir, who is revered as the god on earth by Sumerians and Semites, competing with his brother Enki for the love of half-sister Ninharsag, the parentage of royal heir Ninurta Ninib. Enlil then espouses the midwife Sud, renamed Ninlil, as his official spouse, together creating Nana and Ishkur. Enlil decreed that no Anunnaki should mate with the humans. Enlil is Jupiter, though in Babylon, this is Marduk. All right, the third one is Enki. Enki and Ninki. Enki, Lord of the earth. Ea, Lord of the deep. Nudimud, the fashioner, known too in Egypt as Ptah, which is Ptah, who is called also Ea Saru, Lulag, Edak, and Lugal Abzu, and who is the father of Marduk with Ninki called Damkina. Enki sought to save his bloodline on earth during the deluge. Enki is Neptune. Number 1, Nana, of the god Enlil, firstborn, the god of the moon, called Asim Babar, the light of the new moon, called Nanar, the light of the full moon, and called Su'in or Sin, the light of the crescent moon. First of the Anunnaki gods to be born on the earth planet, wed to Ningal, called Ninkal, who created the twins, Samas, who is Utu, and Ishtar, who is also Inanna. The Anunnaki gave to him the designation of 30. Number 2, Nabu, royal son of Marduk and Sarpanit, firstborn heir to Marduk, given the secrets of writings and wisdom, called Nebo and Nabak. He is messenger, Mercurios, to Marduk, an organizer of the Mardukite tribe and the Amorite lines, counselor to Nebuchadnezzar and Napulazar, and the prophets of Marduk, Mordecai, and Melchizedek. In Egypt, he is Thoth the Younger, brother to Satu, who the Egyptians named Seth. Nabu is the vizier of Marduk on earth. The Anunnaki gave him the designation of 12. Number 3 is Ishtar, called Queen of the Heavens by Enlil and Anu, and known as Inanna, Ishtar, Asarte, and Ninmesara, known as Isis, the mistress of love and war, goddess of both, in far-reaching lands, heralded as Ashtaroth and Aphrodite, and no man who serves her may serve another lady. She is the Venus, the morning star, which does shine brightest, handmaiden of Anu and consort to Dumuzi or Tammuz. The Anunnaki gave her the designation of 15. Number 4, Samas, brother to Ishtar, the morning star. Samas is the day star, giving rule in the precinct of Apsu and Utu and Udu. Samas or Shamash rose to the position of Lord of the Sun in the midst of the younger gods of the Anunnaki and the positions of Sol and Helios by certain tribes. Twin to Ishtar, they are both descendants of the line of Enlil. The Anunnaki gave to him the designation of 20. Number 5, Nergal, chthonic lord, born of Enlil and Ninlil, reigning with Ereshkigal, lady of the underworld, known as Urakal Lugala, what? Lugalaria. Hold on, let me sound it out. Lugalira. Okay. Lugalira and Meslatia. And some have even said Heracles in far reaching places in the original feud between Enlil and Enki and among the younger gods, the Mardukites and Enlilites. Nergal stood as peacemaker and mediator between the sides, but then given charge of Mars and the horrible weapons, he emptied the city of Babylon with the horrible weapons, and such was given by the Anunnaki the designation of 8. Number 6, Marduk, lord of the sixth seal and gatekeeper of the south, called Lugal de Mineranakia. Yep, Lord of heaven and earth. And at his home, Babylon, keeper of the Babylonian, the gateway of the gods, heir of Enki, Ea, and Damkina, Damgalanuna, and consort to Sarpanit, Zarpanitum, lord of Jupiter, Dispater, and by one name in 50, Nibiru, the unifier and defender of the gods and the tablets of destiny, the lord of the 50 names of the Anunnaki, who was exiled in the pyramids for the death of Dumuzi or Tammuz, and who fought for supremacy on earth. Seeing the lordship of his father Enki deprived by the line of Enlil, the Anunnaki gave to him the designation of 10, but Marduk assumed the designation of 50 in Babylon, and upon traveling to far-reaching places and about the Magan lands, heralded by Babylon's lord of the earth planet. Number 7, Ninib or Ninurta, the oldest and heir of Enlil, descendant of the heavenly Ib or Ib dynasty of Anu, called the Lord of the Wind, Adar, and Iskar, called Lord of the Thunder, Raman and Kronos. Adar was given charge and properties of Saturn, heir of the ancient Anshar was the implication. The Anunnaki gave to him the designation of 4. Okay, so now it goes into the Egyptian Book of Dead Names. So yeah, we might have to pause after this one. So yeah, we're at 36 minutes. Okay, all right. The Osiris scribe of true words spoke after arriving in heaven. It is good for men to intone the true words while on earth, as all the true words of Tem, Tem, come to pass. I am the risen God Tem, and I am the only one. As such, I came into existence in you. I am the Ra, who rose in the beginning and is the Lord of this universe. Then this is broken up too, just like the in Proverbs, how they break it up. And between each one, it asks this question, who is this? Or it's who is this? What is this city? And then it goes on to explain. So the first question, who is this? It is Ra, who rose in the beginning in the city of Hensu, and who appeared crowned like a risen king. The gates of Shu had not as yet been created, and he proclaimed himself on the steps of Khem, Khem. I am the great God who has even created himself, and who has created Nu in you, and who lent his name to the company of the gods as gods. Who is this? It is Ra, the creator of the names of each of his limbs, which actually came into being in the form of the gods, the form of those who serve in the procession of Ra. I am he who cannot be rejected among the gods. Who is this? It is Temu, the dweller in his winged disc. But others will say it is Ra when he rises on the eastern horizon. I am yesterday and I know today. Who is this? Yesterday is the past, who is Osiris, and today is the present, who is Ra, the day when he shall destroy the enemies of Neber-Techer, and when he shall establish his sons Horus as prince and ruler. Others will say that today is Ra, on the day of the festival of Osiris slain, reunited with his father Ra, and when the heavenly battle of the gods was first sought, and Osiris had been named the Lord of the Amentet. All right, so just in case you're just joining in with us, all these names we've already identified who Ra is, right? So it's now going to begin using those names, but we know that these are the original Anunnaki, right? Their names are changing as the times are changing, but they are still these same Anunnaki, right? Depending on what region they're at and what religion is being founded, they just change their names, right? Okay. Who is this? No, I just read that one. What is this? It is Amentet, the creation of the souls of the gods at a time when Osiris was commanding in Set Amentet. Other will say that the Amentet belongs to Ra. When any god comes forth, he must rise up and fight for the title. I know the hidden God who dwells within. Who is this? It is Osiris, and yet others will say that it is Ra, and that the God who dwells in Amentet is the phallus of Ra, with which he had union with himself and begat the gods. I am the Bennu, bird residing in Anu. I am the gatekeeper of the tablet of destiny, the record of that which was made by the gods, and others say of which all things in this universe are made. Who is this? It is Osiris, and yet others will say it is the dead body of Osiris, and others still may say that it is the excrement of Osiris. The things which have been made and things which shall be made are a reference to the dead body of Osiris. Others will say that the things which have been made are eternity, and the things which shall be made are everlastingness, and the eternity is the day, and the everlastingness is the night. Coming forth, I am the god Menu. Who is this? Menu is Horus, the advocate of his father Osiris, and by his coming forth, we mean his birth. Two plumes grace his head, and Isis and Nephthys. Two goddesses go forth, and when they set themselves upon such, they act as protectors of Menu, who is Horus. Others would say that the two plumes are belonging to the head of Tim, and still others who say the plumes are the eyes of Menu. Come forth into the city, recorder of the offerings of sacrifice. Come forth, the Osiris scribe who possesses the true words. What is this city? It is the horizon of his father Tim. Coming forth, I have put an end to my iniquities, and I have been absolved from my sins. What is this? It is the cutting of the umbilical cord of the body of the Osiris scribe, possessor of the true word among the gods, and all of his iniquities are absolved. What is this? It is the purification of the risen Osiris on the day of his birth. I am purified by the great double nest which is in Hinsu. Let the followers come on the day of offerings at the altar of sacrifice to the invisible great God who dwells there. What is the great double nest? The name of one nest is Star of Millions of Years. The great green ocean is the name of the other. That is to say, the lake of Natron and the lake of salt. But others will say that the name is planet of millions of years, and that and that great green pond is the name of the other. Yet still others say that father of millions of years is the name of one, and great green lake is the name of the other. Now, as concerning the invisible great God who dwells there, it is none other than Amun Ra, who we know to be Marduk. It is none other than Amun Ra himself. Coming forth, I pass over the way to the head of the island of Ma'ati. Tiffany said, so we've been down here fighting, debating about whose God is the true God, and all of us have been wrong. Shaking my head. You absolutely right, Tiffany. Oh, that's my son. He got a new truck. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, okay, cool. That's it right there. Oh, they had to leave early for a project. Yeah, they left out of here like they had to be at the warehouse at 6.
Hey guys.
That's probably the first time y'all seen my oldest son, Elijah. Oh, he coming back over here. All right. Okay. Go ahead. Take whatever you want. No, I ain't made breakfast yet. They ain't came down the stairs yet. Okay. All right, y'all. So we'll pause. We done read 30 minutes of this. We'll pause right here for this. We'll pick this back up right here tomorrow. Mark my spot. Put my little page marker right here. But yeah, Tiffany, you're absolutely right. We've been down here fighting about whose God is really God. Now, technically, yeah, he didn't grew up, Trina, right? We still refer to the creator of all as Yah, but we finding out some little intricate details of the religion and the Bible that we still use as it's coming, or as we're reading through the Sumerian text. It's like, and I've read like a little bit further, it's like, what is really left in the Bible, at least in the Old, well, we already know that the New Testament is full of shenanigans, but even the Old Testament is like, I'd be asking myself this question. I'm like, whose Torah is this really? Because all of it, just about everything I done seen already, and we ain't even got to some of the stuff. I was like, all of this stuff is found back there. I was like, so creator of all, what are really your words? I mean, granted, you know, the words that we find, if you have a heart to do what's right, you're just going to do what's right. And the Torah has been an absolute great help for us, right? Even when I was in the New Testament, because my heart was to do what was right, I did what was right, and I allowed it to be a guide for me. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But as I began to understand who I'm like, yeah, okay, I done got all I could from there. I still keep what's good, do away with what's bad, right? And then I began to grow in the Old Testament. Same thing, because I had a heart to do what was right, and I was really searching for the creator. I wasn't on no shenanigans. I'm not trying to take this and lord over people or to steal their money. I had a heart to do what was right, and because my heart was right, it literally became a teacher for me, right? We're able to learn lessons from anything, and I still wouldn't do away with it now that I know it's completely Sumerian. Like, I don't talk about it like y'all gonna see as we get deeper into it. Our Bible is completely Sumerian, 100%, y'all. But still, because we had hearts to do what was right, you know, our Creator saw that, so He allowed it to be a teacher for us. It's like a guide for us. It's like a parent, right? But as we grow up, you know, we don't necessarily distance ourselves away from our parents, but we grew up and we began to live life, keeping all of those good things that our teachers have taught us, and we begin to build our life, right? You know, so, but I think we should at least know the truth of what we have and what's really been our guide, right? I mean, we had that physical guide, the Torah, and we still do, but we have our invisible guide, whether it's Yah, or we call them angels, the ministering angels, protecting, guardian angels, helping us. All right, love you too, son. Be safe. But we've had multiple teachers throughout our lives, and you know, and if your heart is to do what is right, and your path is growth and growing in not just spirit but also in truth, then we're able to pull truth from everything. We're able to pull lessons from anything. We're able to learn from anything. And I think that's a part of true growth. And I think that's what true growth really is. And you really become a spiritual person when you can learn how to decipher through things like that, right? And not so much always be at war like, no, your Bible is wrong, my God is right. This is, you know, you just kind of grow out of those things, right? It's all childish, you know. So that's where we find ourselves at today, especially when we realize that we are spirits living inside of bodies. It's like, wait a minute. Because some of this stuff now, we got to adjust what we think. It's like we've moved to another level. And we just cannot operate the same, especially with some of the spiritual experiences we've had. Something has to adjust, or we're going to go crazy, right? And it's better that we adjust our understanding to truth as we grow and figure out what it is, right? So we can continue to develop. So that's why I am on it. I ain't gonna fight nobody else about the Bible. I'm if they're still ready to fight me and whose God is God, I'm like, oh, keep on reading, keep on living. Hopefully you'll figure it out soon enough. But we're gonna keep on going. You'll see us down the road down here. You know, you're free to join us at any time while we're figuring this out. It's a bunch of us. We all colors, sizes, races, and ages. We all down here. We trying to figure this puzzle out. Bring your piece when you get it, right? Okay. So we pause in chapter 23 of My Big Toe on page 173, and it's still in this short aside, right? So I'm gonna go back up. See, he's talking about meditation and how it helps in becoming conscious and developing a consciousness that's worth something, pretty much, just to sum it up. So let me go back up. How does meditation lead you to experience your consciousness? By turning down the contrast, noise, and other activity that make up the busy foreground, by turning down and eventually turning off the cacophony of mental interactions, judgments, and operational processes, to become aware of your consciousness as opposed to being aware of the thoughts that inhabit your consciousness. You must eliminate the excessive preoccupations most of us have with ego based self definition, the contrast that you use to define yourself against the relatively unchanging, invisible background of your individual consciousness. Meditation is thus an act of not doing. It is an exercise in removing enough of the contrasting clutter of your mind to get a glimpse of the real you. Individual consciousness is a subset of absolute consciousness. You are not only the clutter, the wrinkles, the ego, the thoughts, even if that is how you unwittingly define yourself. You are much more than that. Meditation allows you to discover the fact in a uniquely personal way. That is its purpose, self discovery, a glimpse of the fundamental reality of which you are an integral part. The discovery is possible for humans because, at least theoretically, our memory capacity and processing capability are somewhat greater and contain less entropy than that of the average fish. The fish will never directly experience or contemplate unvarying water, the fish equivalent to total sensory deprivation, but you can experience the fundamental nature of your consciousness if you truly want to. If your desire to know yourself and to know the truth at the deepest level of your existence is not strong enough to provide the necessary focus, energy, and persistence required to succeed, you are not yet ready to begin that journey. There is no rush and no penalty for not being ready. It is much better to wait until you are ready than to push yourself into a state of self limiting frustration. Do you see why meditation is almost universally prescribed as the first step? The doorway to understanding and exploring consciousness, as well as to the attainment of spiritual growth. It makes sense that a program to develop your consciousness should naturally start with finding and becoming acquainted with that consciousness. There are other methods, but they apply less universally. Let me go back. Okay. There are other methods, but they apply less universally, are more difficult to learn, and are much more difficult to teach. Meditation will work wonderfully when you are ready. You may first need to work on getting ready by developing an honest desire to grow spiritually and the courage to pursue big truth to its conclusion. You may need to first overcome some of the fear and cultural beliefs to which you have become attached. How does meditation clear out the clutter and reduce the noise level of a mind caught in a self referential endless loop of obfuscating circular logic? The technique is simple and straightforward. The trappings of ritual, dogma, belief, and physical process are mostly irrelevant. You simply stop the incessant operational, self referential, contrast producing chatter of the mind by filling the mind up with something less distracting, less self focused, and less obsessively driven. While the mind is preoccupied with non operative busy work, you can experience the still center of your being. Eventually, after much practice, you can let go of the mental busy work and explore the larger reality of consciousness from an imperturbable, still, and quiet place that will slowly develop and grow larger at the center of your being. Some traditions call this mental busy work assignment a mantra. Traditionally, this is a sound of some sort, but in this big toe, we are bound only by science, not tradition. So remember, weeks ago when we were talking about praying in tongues, you can pray in the tongue. You can call it a mantra, one word, repeating it over and over again, but you're essentially doing the same thing. Remember, the different religions teach you the same thing, but they call it something different, and then they demify all the other religions for doing the same thing they're doing that they call something else, right? Church, you call it praying in tongues. In the Eastern cultures, you call it chanting or call it a mantra, but you're doing the same thing. It's a phrase or it's a word that's being repeated over and over and over again. And the whole point is to quiet you down, quiet the chatter down on the inside of you so you can focus and you can tune into Yah, so to speak, right? It's the same exact thing. Some traditions call this mental busy work assignment a mantra. Traditionally, this is a sound of some sort, but in this big toe, we are bound only by science, not tradition. We quickly move to toss belief, dogma, and ritual out the window and focus by experimental result only on the active ingredients of mantra. Science allows the concept of mantra to be generalized to accommodate the various ways we take in and process information through our five senses. Typically, people tend to take in most of their experiential input data through their ears, which is auditory, through their eyes, which is visual, or sense of touch, which is kinesthetic. Many people absorb information more effectively through one of these avenues of data input than they do through the others. Over the previous decade or so, the popular literature is full of assessments of personality type and characteristics by data input preference. It makes no sense to force everyone down the traditional auditory path. Some people simply do not get it that way. If you are not now successfully meditating and have no idea where or how to find a suitable technique to do so, I will provide to you, free of charge, for this one time only, a mentally calming, busy work mantra custom made for your personal mind that is based upon each of the dominant perception types. Simply use the one or a combination that seems to work best for you. For those more heavily into smell and taste than the average humanoid form, I am sure you can follow the three examples given to custom fit a smelly or yummy mantra to suit your individual preference. After explaining each mantra, I will, against my better judgment, tell you what you can do with them. Oh no, not like that. I wouldn't be that rude. I understand that your Western mindset needs to begin everything with physical process, whether it makes sense or not. Those who seriously want to get started on their spiritual journey but find themselves caught in the headlights of physical action, reaction, causality will now have something to do. It may or may not help you improve the quality of your consciousness. That depends on you. But it will give you the committed but it will give the committed doers a place to start. Often that is what is needed, a place to start, a doable approach to the problem of how to modify the quality of your being. This could be the step you need to break free from the mesmerizing glare of those cultural beliefs that reduce rather than extend your vision. Try it. You may surprise yourself with some dramatic results. For the audio types, we need a sound that means nothing, is two syllables, and ends in a soothing or vibratory sound. Here are a few samples of proven quality. Take your pick or make up one of your own. Okay, so those of you who haven't started a mantra yet or are afraid to or not sure which one, I had a couple people ask about different ones. If you don't have like a tongue that was downloaded to you, right? I've practiced with both and they both actually work, right? It gets you into the zone, it quiets you down. So for the audio types, if you're an audio type, here's the sound, right? Here's a couple of them. Okay. For the audio types, we need a sound that means nothing, is 2 syllables, and ends in a soothing or vibratory sound. Here are a few samples of proven quality. Take your pick or make up one of your own. Serene, serene. Another one is da room, da room, and you would just keep repeating that sound. It means nothing, but it's causing the vibratory sound. It needs to be 2 syllables, just something for, it's like you got to give you, remember I say you got to give your dog a bone, give your dog a toy to play with so your spirit can calm down. You're giving your spirit, you're giving your dog something to do while you're focused. That's all this is, y'all. The next one, rising, rising. Another one is kaun, kaun. Another one is sarun, sarun. And then you have the last one he gives, sherloom, sherloom. For a simple multi-syllable repetitive string or chant, try. Okay, so it's a longer one, right? So try, hold on. Oh, hold on, let me get it. Okay, so if you need a longer one, if you would like to try a longer one, here's this one. Tanya 3000, shalom. Hold on, I'm gonna say it first. Alambardi dum. Hold on. Alumbardidum. And he spells it out. A is AH-lum, LUM BAR-DEE-dum. Alumbardidum. Alumbardidum. Okay. When the bar and ba regularly interchange themselves effortlessly, you'll be on your way. Okay, I did that wrong. Okay, so this is a string. Okay, it switches. I didn't even pay attention to that. Okay. Try alumbardidum, alumbardidum. Okay, so the first one is bardidum. The second one is ba-didum. So you do those together. Alumbardidum, alumbardidum. And you just keep repeating that. And it says, as you do this, and I actually tried this before. I actually had to record it and listen to it and then do it. And then it just kind of like takes over. It does that same thing if you do it long enough. Remember how I was explaining when we was going through the tongues book? When I was praying, when you pray in your tongue, it's like priming your pump, so to speak. It's like once you do it and because when you first start off, it's like, you got to focus and keep yourself doing it. But if you do it long enough, it literally just begins to take over by itself and it'll keep going. It's like you got that pump prime, like you starting a lawnmower, like, then it just takes over and goes. That's what literally happens. You got to practice it long enough to see it actually happen. It'll happen with a mantra, a long string mantra, and it'll happen with your tongues. It's like your spirit will just pick it up and it'll do it. And you can actually do it for the rest of the day. It'll just keep going. But you got to do it long enough. And for me, it kicks in about the 4th or the 5th hour. And I noticed that only because when I was doing my all-nighter prayers, when I would pray that long, I would notice after a certain time period, I wouldn't have to like force the praying anymore. It would just literally take over on the inside of me. And I was like literally sitting back, like listening to my inside just go with it, if that makes sense. Okay. For a simple multi-syllable repetitive string chant, try alumbardidum, alumbardidum. When the bar and ba regularly interchange themselves effortlessly, you will be well on your way. These are sounds, not words. It is important that they carry no intellectual meaning. The point of this exercise is to quiet your operative intellect so that you can experience consciousness by directly reducing the variations, comparisons, and contrasts that your ego intellect imposes upon consciousness. Feel free to mix and match. Put any of the first syllables in front of any of the second syllables to produce no fewer than 36 unique mantras. For most people, it won't make much difference. For most people, it won't make much difference which sound is used, but if one sound feels more natural than the others, use it. Obsessive compulsive types should take care not to get wrapped around the axle trying to find the best one. Any will do. Lighten up. Do not be intense and serious. Have no expectations. Sit in a comfortable, quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and fill your mind with the sound of your chosen mantra. No need to make an actual sound. No need to make an actual sound. Focus your attention on the sound. Let the sound fill your mind. Think of nothing else. Whatever devices you need to stay focused on the sound and merely hold on. Use whatever devices you need to stay focused on the sound. Merely listen to it repeat itself. The repetition may be simple and straightforward or occur in interesting ways, perhaps with complex variations. Eventually, let the sound of the mantra slow to a rhythmic, bland repetition and then slow and smear further into a continuous background sound. If thoughts creep in, gently put them aside and refill your mind with the sound. If intruding thoughts constantly stream into your awareness, give the mantra a more active form. As thoughts disappear, leaving your mind empty, simplify and soften the sound of the mantra. Continue the meditation process uninterrupted for at least 20 minutes, twice a day for 3 months before evaluating the results. And say that again. And remember, can I post the mantra instructions for those of us who have not acquired the book? I sure can. That's good. Thank you. I will. I sure will. I can actually just go into my electronic book and copy and paste it. I'll do that. I'll put it in the community section today. Okay. Post mantra instructions. Okay, and also remember a way to do this. You're welcome, Lindsay. Y'all outstanding in a form of discussion and reading. Also remember, it's something that I do. I was using it this morning before I got on. I actually recorded myself saying my mantra. I recorded myself and I put it in my iTunes in my playlist and I put it on repeat. So if you're working and you can like have a headphone or something in your ear, or you may work by yourself, you drive or whatever, you can practice this and actually keep yourself focused by doing that. Record your own self saying it and you can actually listen to it. I'm telling you, it does the same thing where you're saying it out loud. When you first start doing it, just to get yourself in the habit of doing it, saying it out loud will probably help keep you on track. But the main focus or the point you're trying to get to is where you don't have to actually speak it out of your mouth. You make it an inward thing, right? And it just kind of just keeps going by itself. So I found that to be a great help, right? And at times I even just put it on at night. Imagine sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night for however long you sleep. Make sure you got your phone plugged in and headphones charged up if they wireless, and let that play in your ears all night, right? So you're getting that charge overnight. And I tend to do that from time to time. But that's a great help, so just in case, just to kind of get it going, give yourself every opportunity to grow with the resources and all the electronics and everything we have available to us. Okay. And we're going to pause after this, after I finish with these instructions here. Okay. Let me go back up. Eventually, let the sound of the mantra slow to a rhythmic, bland repetition and then slow and smear further into a continuous background sound. If thoughts creep in, gently put them aside and refill your mind with the sound. If intruding thoughts constantly stream into your awareness, give the mantra a more active form. As thoughts disappear, leaving your mind empty, simplify and soften the sound of the mantra. Continue the meditation process uninterrupted for at least 20 minutes, twice a day, for 3 months before evaluating the results. If the sound slips away, but no extraneous thoughts appear, let it go and drift into the quiet blankness of your consciousness. You will love it. Visual types need a non-personal visualization that begins with complexity but not detail and ends with simplicity. You may start with a black and white soccer ball, then let the colors change to red and blue. Then the ball begin to rotate slowly. Let the colors change. Your image should be as clear as a watercolor painting, not as precise as a high resolution photograph. Switch to a series of simple geometric shapes such as spheres, cubes, circles, triangles, cylinders, rectangles, and lines. Let them rotate slowly. Slowly change their size and colors. Choose one shape and let it change very slowly. Watch your images intently. Think of nothing else. Gradually, progress your images towards greater simplicity and slower motion. Do not force the images. Let them do what they want to do as long as they do not disturb your tranquility. Look at your images uncritically and dispassionately as if you were watching a plotless movie. If thoughts creep in, gently put them aside and refill your mind with more active images. Continue the meditation process uninterrupted for at least 20 minutes twice a day for 3 months before evaluating the results. If the images slip away but no extraneous thoughts appear, let them go and drift into the still oneness of your consciousness. If you enjoy natural places, and when I post these up here, I'll make them separate posts, so it's not one whole long post, but I'll put the in bold at the top for auditory types in meditation. I'll break it up so it'll be like 3 or 4 different posts. You just find the one that suits you. Okay. If you enjoy natural places, you might start with a scene, perhaps a generic beach. Hear the waves, feel the sand, smell the bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. If you enjoy natural places, you might start with a scene, perhaps a generic beach. Hear the waves, feel the sand, smell the salt spray, listen to the seagulls, be there with all of your senses. Slowly simplify your image and focus on a few items at a time. Eventually, you may narrow your focus to a single grain of sand, going close to inspect the tiny crystal from every angle. Choose the viewing angle if you prefer and see how the light plays off the surface of the crystal. Back away until you can barely see its surface features. Hold that view as only you and the grain of sand quietly coexist within the void. Choose images that particularly suit you. Be careful not to try too hard and do not struggle with high resolution image quality or anything else. Images may be felt as well as seen. Struggling to make your meditation be how you think it should be is always counterproductive. No expectations, no struggle, no demands. The point is not to force your will on the process, but let the process unfold naturally as it captivates your attention. Remember that what you are trying to do without trying is to not do. Let me read that again. Remember that what you are trying to do without trying is to not do. Read that sentence again. Don't you just love it? If it makes sense to you, you are on your way. If that sounds like idiotic gibberish, you should go back to the beginning of this aside and start over. But don't get stuck in an endless loop. Twice is enough. For the kinesthetic types, we need textures that are non personal, interesting, and pleasant. For example, feel a rich velvet or fur coat as you mentally rub your hands slowly over it. Dig into it with your fingers. Feel it rub across your arms and face. Explore the buttons or zipper, the seams, sleeves, and collar. Become tiny or create a giant coat and roll around on it. Crawl into a pocket. Slowly let your sensing of the coat become simple and rhythmic. You might do the same thing with walking barefoot in squishy mud, or walking in the rain, or swimming in a pool filled with grape jelly. Start with complexity and progress to a more and more simple, rhythmic sensory stimulus. You might do the same thing with walking barefoot in squishy mud, or walking in the rain, or swimming in a pool filled with grape jelly. Start with complexity and progress to more and more simple, rhythmic, sensory stimulations. If thoughts creep in, gently put them aside and refill your mind with the sensations. Continue the meditation process uninterrupted for at least 20 minutes twice a day for 3 months before evaluating the results. If the sensations slip away, but no extraneous thoughts appear, let the sensations go and drift aimlessly into the boundless depths of your consciousness. Smell and taste mantras would work similarly to the kinesthetic mantra above. Use your imagination. Do not be afraid to mix and match the senses. Combine them in ways that work for you. Have no intellectual or emotional connection to your mantra. Maintain only enough complexity to keep extraneous thoughts away. Nothing should be in your mind except the sound, sight, feel, taste, or smell of the mantra. As intruding thoughts become less of a problem, simplify your mantra. When you no longer need it to maintain a state of blank, thoughtless existence, let it go. And it goes into a smaller, shorter side real quick. Speaking of experiencing a state of thoughtless existence through meditation, let's do another ego tweak, a real blatant one this time, and have some fun. Hey, ladies, do you think most spiritual gurus are men? Think about it. Do you give up? Because men are born thoughtless and remain that way the rest of their lives. Why else? Hold on, wait a minute. I probably just read that all wrong. I think this was a joke. Hold on. Speaking of experiencing a state of thoughtless existence through meditation, let's do another ego tweak, a real blatant one this time, and have some fun. Hey, ladies, why do you think most spiritual gurus are men? That was the question. Okay, yeah, I screwed it up. Okay. Hey, ladies, why do you think most spiritual gurus are men? Think about it. Do you give up? Because men are born thoughtless and remain that way for the rest of their lives. Why else? Ooh, what a low blow. Uh-oh, easy fellows. I was only kidding. Just a little double entendre wordplay. Come on now. What's the matter, guys? Remember the rules. Peace and light. No violence until after I leave. Oh well, at least the ladies thought it was funny. They get it. Then it goes back to the mantras. Okay. The point here is to learn to control your thoughts and your operative mind so that you can experience your consciousness. This is a first and necessary step. Later, you can learn how to direct that consciousness once you have freed it from a noisy, frantic, ego serving, perpetual tail chase. Do not try to direct it too soon. That will only delay your progress. Get in touch with and follow the source of your intuition. Do not pursue or chase after specific or general results. All results must come to you. If you go after them, it will only delay your progress. Continue to experiment and to taste the pudding periodically. Natural, easy, patient, and gentle are the hallmarks of a successful process. Result driven, ego driven, success driven, frustrated, forced, fearful, and having preconceived notions and expectations are the hallmarks of a wrong headed, flawed execution of the meditation process. Experiment to find what works best and feels most natural to you. After you find it, stick with it for a while. If thoughts intrude, as soon as you realize that your mind is no longer exclusively working with the mantra, put them gently aside. If thoughts continue to come, increase the complexity of your mantra a little. As thoughts disappear and do not return, decrease the complexity. Never try too hard. If you become frustrated, you are trying too hard. This is most important. Have absolutely no expectations and no specific goal. This is also important. Do not begin to judge how well or how poorly your meditation is working until you have found and implemented a productive meditation process twice daily for at least 3 to 6 months. Then taste the pudding. Right? So he said you got to practice it. And once you get in the flow, he said give yourself 3 to 6 months. I would say do it 6. That's why we ain't started doing our live Zooms yet. Because y'all ain't even nearly had enough time to practice any of this stuff that we're learning about, right? Especially if you just started it. So he said give yourself 3 to 6 months. Then taste the pudding. Look at your life. Look at the quality. Has it increased? Has it decreased? Right? Begin to take notes. But you got to get a process in place to get going first, to even begin to see results begin to build and add up. Right? Okay. I'll read this again and we'll pause right after this. This is also important. Do not begin to judge how well or how poorly your meditation is working until you have found and implemented a productive meditation process twice daily for at least 3 to 6 months. Then taste the pudding. Do not analyze or compare, just experience. This is not an intellectual exercise, and you're analyzing, justifying intellect will only get in the way. Never force the mantra. Go with it, flow with it, and let whatever happens, happen. This is a gentle activity with no preconceived notions of what the outcome should be or feel like. There will be plenty of time for evaluation and pudding tasting after you gain some basic competence. There must be a time to be critical, but not now. You do not know enough to be productively critical yet. Let every meditation be an entirely new and unique experience. Do not force every meditation experience to be like a previous experience that was judged to be a good one. Continue tasting the pudding at 3-month intervals. Look for the existence of measurable results in the form of objective changes in your being. After 6 months, ask people who are close to you if they notice a change in your approach to life. Be aware of your mental state, how that state changes as the meditation progresses. I'll tell y'all that I'm telling you it works, because my outlook on life, just by going through some of this stuff and just like, Pam, calm yourself down. Like some of my reactions towards people, especially when it comes to the Bible, it would be not such a nice conversation to have with me. I was like, you calm down a whole lot, Pam. Like you just gotta like let it flow. Let it flow like water, right? Let it flow like water off a duck's back. Say, let every meditation be an entirely new and unique experience. Do not force every meditation experience to be like a previous experience that was judged to be a good one. Continue tasting the pudding at 3-month intervals. Look for the existence of measurable results in the form of objective changes in your being. After 6 months, ask people who are close to you if they notice a change in your approach to life. Be aware of your mental state and how that state changes as the meditation progresses. Customize your meditation to suit yourself. Your meditation should become easier, more effective, and more efficient over time. Be patient. Do not rush the process. Trying to speed up or push the process will only delay your progress. Pay careful attention to the choices you make throughout your day. Examine your motivations and intent. Pay careful attention to the choices you make throughout your day. Examine your motivations and intent relative to those choices. By an act of your will, modify your intents to be more giving, caring, loving, and to be less self serving. Shift the focus from what you want, need, and desire, to what you can give to and do for others. In the same manner, change where and how you invest the energy that follows your intent in your relationships and interactions with other people. Examine your motivations and intent as described above, immediately before and after, but not during each meditation. You must be consistent. That is most important. You must be consistent. That is most important. And one more time for good measure. You must be consistent. That is most important. Once you get used to the exercise, 30 minutes twice a day is enough to accomplish both the meditation and the examination of your choices. Take more if you wish, but much more is not necessary. If you constantly end up in a state of frustration instead of a state of expanded awareness, let go, back off, and take a break until you can find a different perspective, a different attitude, or a different intent. Try a different mantra. Perhaps you are trying too hard. Perhaps you are limited by your belief and fear, or lack the necessary. I'm sorry, hold on. Perhaps you are limited by your belief and fear, or lack the necessary courage and drive. Perhaps you need to read and follow the instructions more carefully. Perhaps you are using a meditation technique that does not suit you. Perhaps you are not ready at this time. Don't worry, everything works out in its own time. There is no blame, no reason to feel badly, and no failure on your part. Continue to apply the meditation process gently and consistently, and one day, when you relax, success will take you by surprise. Everyone grows in their own way and in their own time. No one faults children for not being adults, though most children wish they were adults. That's good. I'll read that again. Everyone grows in their own way and in their own time. No one faults children for not being adults, though most children wish they were adults. There is no practical technique that allows you to skip steps. You are who and what you are. Accept that gracefully. Work on getting ready by continuing to practice the given exercises gently and with no expectations. There is no faster process or better way to get ready than that. And we'll pause right there. Right? Okay. And although the shorter side doesn't end, we are already at an hour and 27 minutes. I know we said we was going to stop at an hour, but I just couldn't stop midway through those examples because I could have been leaving yours out and you wanted to start today if you hadn't started. So I think that's a good place to start. We'll pick it back up. And that actually, oh shoot, you know what? This is like the last. Let me not stop right there. Let me just finish this right here because that is the last page of this chapter. Let me just finish it. Okay. I'm gonna just finish it. Hold on. Let me read this again. And then I just go right through here. Everyone grows in their own way and in their own time. No one faults children for not being adults, though most children wish they were adults. There is no practical technique that allows you to skip steps. You are who and what you are. Accept that gracefully. Work on getting ready by continuing to practice the giving exercises gently and with no expectations. There is no faster process or better way to get ready than that. Thus, we see that getting prepared and ready to grow, as well as actively progressing along a growth path, as well as optimizing the growth path that you are on, all follow the same prescription. It matters not what your initial conditions are. Hey, Isaiah, you too loud. Shush. It matters not what your initial conditions are or where your starting point is. The same set of meditation exercises is optimal and appropriate for all. That is why virtually everyone who wishes to follow the path of knowledge toward spiritual growth, toward improving the quality of their consciousness, is instructed to begin with daily meditation. Each individual will naturally extract from their meditation what they need for their next step. I read that again. That was good. Each individual will naturally extract from their meditation what they need for their next step. This personalization of the growth process takes place naturally because each individual is essentially engaged in a bootstrapping pulling themselves up by their bootstraps operation with his or her own consciousness. The meditation experience is as individual and personal as is your consciousness. This is a life's work. It takes significant time to take root, blossom, and bear fruit. Results will accrue in proportion to the energy that is invested productively. For example, with moderate effort, significant results should become obvious within 6 months to a year. Continue to apply the meditation process with gentle resolve. There is no rush, no test, and no diploma. You have all the time you need to get it right. Some will get it right away, others may take a long time. Gracefully accept however it comes to you. You have no choice. A teacher can only encourage and facilitate the evolution of your consciousness by helping you find opportunities to exploit on your own. Spiritual growth, as any growth, is an internal process and cannot be forced from the outside. When I got this part, it was such peace for me, because coming out of the church and even in like the Hebrew whoops, it's always like this. It's like this. How you describe it? It's always like this impending. I don't know how to describe it. It was always like we had to be moving towards something. Like it's like this always. If we didn't like get somewhere in a certain amount of time, it was always like this impending feeling of doom or something that was going to happen. That's like the best way to explain it. Or like if we got it wrong, or like the whole scare, you're going to end up in hell, like all that type of stuff. Like all of that completely goes away. Like all that fear and everything, at least for me it did. That whole impending sense of doom and destruction or missing out on some, all of that just kind of goes away, right? And I found meditation, it's literally like a lifesaver. You can just relax, breathe, and just be, right? Okay. A teacher can only encourage and facilitate the evolution of your consciousness by helping you find opportunities to exploit on your own. Spiritual growth, as any growth, is an internal process and cannot be forced from the outside. Hopefully, these meditation exercises have addressed your need for a physical process to facilitate positive consciousness development. However, in doing so, I may have created a new problem for you: how to deal with the frustration that is often created by the inadequacy of doing to produce dramatic spiritual progress quickly. The Western attention span is notoriously short. To make matters worse, dramatic results are often required to overcome strongly opposing cultural belief systems. The fact is that progress in meditation, like progressing and playing a musical instrument, usually accrues slowly and only becomes dramatic after significant time and effort has been invested.
Mom, who's this for?
That's for you, Tootie. Elijah brought it over here for you. The fact is that progress in meditation, like the progress in playing a musical instrument, usually accrues slowly and only becomes dramatic. Yes, it's a dress, Tootie. I think Tara gave it to you, but Elijah brought it over.
I said doll.
It's for a doll? No, I think that's not for your doll. I think that's for you.
And Jace killed my doll?
Jace killed your doll?
Yeah,
What?
yesterday Elijah about buying me a doll.
No, well, we'll talk to Elijah about buying you a new doll. But I don't think Jace killed your doll. One of your brethren did that. Okay, hold on. I'll be done in like a couple seconds. Let me finish reading this. Hold on, Tootie. And girl, what did you got? What was you eating? Go wash your face.
Nothing.
No, go look in the mirror at your face. Go into my bathroom and look at your face in the mirror.
You can.
Westerners caught the glaring. Hold on. Let me go back. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully, these meditation exercises have addressed your need for a physical process to facilitate positive consciousness development. However, in doing so, I may have created a new problem for you: how to deal with the frustration that is often created by the inadequacy of doing to produce dramatic spiritual results quickly. The Western attention span is notoriously short. To make matters worse, dramatic results are often required to overcome strongly opposing cultural beliefs. The fact is that progress in meditation, like progress in playing a musical instrument, excuse me, usually accrues slowly and only becomes dramatic after significant time and effort has been invested. Progress accrues by the accumulation of many unnoticeable, tiny successes. Take the long view and have patience. Westerners caught in the glaring headlights of their cultural beliefs desperately need something to do before they become spiritual roadkill, run over by mindless conformity and a blind obedience to the cultural norm. Thump, splat, oh geez, what a mess. All the king's horses and all the king's men will have a difficult time getting that one back on the road to spiritual progress again. Actually, it is unfair of me to pick on Westerners as being particularly limited by needing to do something in order to be something. Most Easterners are in the same doing fixated boat. Their do boat may appear to be bigger, not as confining perhaps, but just as limiting. Doing within a spiritual cultural tradition is as problematical and unproductive as doing within a material cultural tradition. And this is the end of it. If you are so inclined, you now have something productive to do, as well as an expanded perspective on the limitations and personal nature of that doing. And that's the end of that little short aside. And his last sentence for this chapter is, yes, babe.
You open this now?
Hold on, no. You now know what to do and how to do it. And if you settle in for the long haul with a serious commitment, hold on, Tootie.
Mom!
Yes.
I think you don't survive for nothing.
No, we're not going to open that. You now know what to do and how to do it. And if you settle in for the long haul with a serious commitment to finding big truth, you will succeed beyond your wildest dreams. That, my beautiful people, is the end of chapter 23. So if y'all got to go to work, go ahead and get out of here. But I didn't want to cut that off right in the middle of it when we got there. But I will post this. I'll copy it and paste it. Maybe I'll do, okay, so maybe it'll be a few posts. For those who want to keep it all in one post, just in case they want to copy it and paste it somewhere in their notes, I'll do a long post with everything included for all the meditation, for the different type of meditation you choose, whether you're audible, visual, whatever, right? I'll put it in one and then I'll break it up and I'll put it in separate, smaller ones, right? So it'll be one with everything in it. And then if you just want your portion, for if you know you're an audible learner and you can hear, like I'm like an audible learner, right? Well, I guess I'm a good mix of all of them, but a lot of things, which is probably why I can sit and listen to lectures and stuff all the time. I can take in a lot of information. I do a lot of things audibly and I can retain a lot of stuff by hearing it. But some things that I may not quite understand, I have to kind of manipulate it like with my hands or go through looking at things just to make sure I get the part that I'm missing from hearing, if that makes sense. So I'll do it that way. So give me a few minutes. It'll be up in, give me a couple hours. I got a couple things to do over here, but I'll get it up. It's real easy because I can just go to my electronic version and I'll copy and paste. Bella, stop that. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the reading for today. It is Monday. You ain't doing the blessing today. You need to go look at your face in the mirror, little girl. You need to go wash your face. Don't give me attitude. You ain't getting in the camera looking like that. Well, you need to hurry up and put some water on your face. I don't know what she was eating. I don't know what she was doing, but she ain't about to get in the camera looking like that. And while she pulling herself together, she's standing at the kitchen sink doing this. Hold on, look at me. You still didn't. Okay, maybe I just covered up with the Vaseline. Girl, you still didn't. Hold on. We'll have to wash your face when we die. Hold on, let's do this.
You can wash my hair.
Yeah, I'll wash your hair when we give you a bath. Hold on, let's do this. Let's just put this, rub the Vaseline all on your face real good. I'm sorry, that might be a little ghetto. I'm sorry, but she really want to do the blessing. Let's see. What's she looking like?
I'm not looking like Elsa.
All right, y'all. So it is Monday, February the 21st, 2022, day 37 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1055. We read we started reading the first tablet of the Anunnaki Bible. Did we get through? Hold on. What did I pause? Yeah, we started in the first tablet A of the Anunnaki Bible, which started on page 42, and we paused on page 54, and then we finished the rest of chapter 23 in My Big Toe.
Mom, once we go to karate?
We go to karate tomorrow, Tootie.
Mom, you said we can go in 2 days.
Well, tomorrow is the second day,
You
right?
mean,
Tuesday.
You mean
okay.
This?
Tootie got karate tomorrow. Okay.
Mom, I hate karate. I just want to go with gymnastics.
Well, they don't have gymnastics yet, so karate it is.
Elijah in here too.
Oh yeah, Elijah's there. You see Elijah? Okay. All right, y'all. The blessing is
Elijah
found.
was already here.
The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all. I will see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce.
Mom, will we have to go another day?
Will we have to go another day? Nowhere today.
We have to go job site and get this box.
No, we don't need to go to the job site today, Tootie.
Well, yes, we do.
In the video. Your dad must have gave you some information that he didn't give me.
I need the Walmart now.
Bye, y'all. Go ahead. In YouTube. I get that posted here in a few minutes. All right.
Now take me a bath and